and the
Recording
real
in progress.
treatment, the real containment, and we changed our strategy. But if you look at the last 10 years, the HSS, which is the front for RSS, have multiplied many times. Their chapters have multiplied many times. Hindu America Foundation, which was launched years after Indian Muslim Council was launched, after we got the Modi's visa revoked under Coalition Against Genocide, they launched Hindu America Foundation. And look where it stands today. Similarly, their Hindu Student Council, the VHPA America. Several years ago, when we had a resolution in the Congress, more than 40 members of Congress signed on to it. Today, Ilhan Umar had introduced a resolution, not even 10 people have signed on as co-sponsors. So we are going backwards, and we keep doing the same thing again and again. Working in Washington, D.C., when we do not have the number of votes or money, is a waste of resources and waste of time, waste of precious resources of the community, because the money that comes does not grow in the living rooms of or the backyards of the Indian Muslim associations. We take this money from, and if we keep spending it doing webinars and this kind of fake hearings in Washington D.C., because I call them fake hearings because they are not official fake briefings, because they are not official hearings. No member of Congress comes, maybe once or twice. Free lower staff comes just to get free pizza and free coffee, and nothing happens. Whereas Hindutva keeps on growing. So the only way to counter it is we cannot get millions and millions of Muslims from India or other places to come here. We cannot print dollars in our bedrooms. We have to form coalitions. We defeated Modi when he was trying to come here through a broad-based coalition. The coalition has to be more than the Indian coalition. The coalition has to be a real coalition. You cannot have, just to show people to raise money, 10 names of coalitions of two people each. You have to have real coalition. When I say real coalition, I mean the coalition of whites and blacks and Hispanics of America, the coalition of local pastors, the coalition of local synagogues. And wherever we did that, for example, Long Island, Albany, where I live now, moved from Long Island, in Westchester, other places, in Flint, you have, tremendous influence on your member of Congress. So wherever we have a grassroots coalition where we went and educated the local pastors and local synagogues. Remember the Holocaust Center in Nassau County, a place where Hindutva is very strong. They came out and said, guys, they're just like the Germany of 1930s. So if we do that, just imagine which member of Congress, if there is a local coalition of your pastors and rabbis and you and Sikhs and Dalits and Christians and Hindus, go and meet them and show them the article from Haaretz saying that these are Hitler's Hindus, which coalition, which member of Congress will stand against you? Just like Muslims will not tolerate ISIS to represent us in America or Al-Qaeda to represent us in America. Similarly, we should demand that interfaith circles, the members of RSS do not represent Hindus. Moderate Hindus should come in. Whereas right now, not only the political circles, but even the interfaith circles is being infiltrated by RSS. The human rights places are being infiltrated by RSS. In Council on Foreign Relations, where I attend monthly meetings, Hindutva people were there. Hindu America Foundation was there, and I had to have, ignoring the decorum, had to have heated discussions to prove who they were. So unless we have the strategy of focusing only in America, because we cannot fight in multiple fronts. Once we win this front, then actually we can go and help India also. Winning here will help India the most. And then building coalitions. That's the only thing that we should focus on, instead of just doing this, fluffy things in Washington, D.C. Then we stand a chance. And then at the same time, when I say build coalition, the Muslim community has to be an integral part of it. Hindutva fascism is the fastest growing Islamophobic group in the US. For 10 to 12 years, you can ask the presidents of CARE or ICNA or ISNA, continuously and constantly have been writing to them that this is the real threat. Because every year, 150,000 Indians come to America. And out of that, 80% of them are hardcore RSS supporters. And these are highly educated force that is coming to America every year. And they have, California, when they try to change the syllabus and take out all positive references to Islam and Muslims in the textbook. They wanted to teach American kids, our American kids, hatred of Islam the way they did it in India. Luckily, different groups came together and stopped it. That shows again that if we have to fight it, not only do we have to have coalition, but we have to have a coordination and cooperation between different groups. Just like we have the right and the duty to criticize Muslim leadership in India or Muslim parties, whether it be Majlis or Jamiatul Ulama, we should have the right and the duty to criticize Muslims organizations if they are not doing the job. That should not be, and we should be politically mature to take that criticism in the right spirit and then form a strong, structure that we have, a strong structure, a strong coalition, and a well thought out strategic plan. And then we can fight and we can win, because it is much more easier than the Palestinian people, because our struggle is not such an uphill struggle.
Sheikh Ubaid, we have a couple more minutes left, please.
Okay. I will wind up. Just like when we were launching, when Rohingya genocide was about to take place, for 4 or 5 years, I had been writing to national Muslim associations and organizations. Then I realized that their plates were full and they cannot take care of Burma. So I convinced Abdul Malik Mujahid. It took me 6 months to launch Burma Task Force, the way he had led Bosnia Task Force. And when we launched Burma Task Force, we had an uphill battle because Aung San Suu Kyi, remember, was the darling of the West. Obama brought her in the White House. We could not go anywhere. So we started educating the clergy, formed an interfaith coalition, took Nobel laureates with us, had meetings where Nobel laureates spoke, and slowly and steadily we reached a position where we have unanimous resolutions against Burma, even when Aung San Suu Kyi was not in jail and was still ruling. So that is the strategy that is needed. Because if we do not have that right strategy, then remember what is at stake: a monumental genocide, a Holocaust that the world has never seen. 220 million Muslims marked for destruction. If you go to Spain, you do not see a single grave of Muslims. And RSS has clearly said that we have studied Spain and we want to make India into another Spain. Just as in Spain, the Muslim civilization was a glorious one. We ruled Spain for 700 years. The same thing comes to India. And they say that it was done in Spain, and we should not let that happen. With that, once again, I thank you for this opportunity. And I want to praise another organization and person there. After Masood Rabhai passed away, the way Shujaat has handled CAPI and the way your company has supported that association that took root in Michigan and is working all over the country, and in question and answers, I can elaborate on what Aspire and CAPI have done in the last couple of years and why there was a need to it. I had kept it more general about what every city must do to fight the impending genocide and marginalize Hindutva in the US. Thank you so very much.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Very good advice. Coalition building, cooperation, right strategy, the vital part to win this war. Thank you very much. I think we're going to come back to you for the question and answer later on. So the next speaker is Sheikh Ahmed Mubarak. Brother I think he's working on PhD, and he has triple MAs, a lot of degrees, one in political science, one in linguistics, one is in public administration, I think. Political administration. Okay. So born and raised in Mauritania, he's fluent in Arabic, French, and English, involved in coalition building, civic engagement, strategy planning. He has almost a 1 page, so I'm not going to go all of it. I think a lot of activities he's involved. And he's the CEO, president of Mubarak Leadership and Management Consulting, that is LLC. The second one is executive director of Arab American Federation. And also currently he's serving as a consultant and executive director of the CAPI, Coalition of Americans for Pluralism in India. So CAPI, the one Shujaat Khan is leading it. So with that one, I request Sheikh Mubarak to take the stage and talk on the same topic of preserving the democracy in America, in India, inshallah. Go ahead, Sheikh Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
As the MC introduced me, my name is Sheikh Ahmed Mubarak, born and raised in Mauritania, before going to Maghreb Arab countries, Tunisia, Libya, and then to Egypt, and then to the United States. Yes, I have kind of